Hello, I'm Heather Ann Smith, and I'm giving this presentation on autism. I have a speech impediment and a cord, and I'm trying to be as knowledgeable as possible. I have facts on autism to give to you. The first is that autism is not a disease. It's one of the many myths surrounding autism. It's not a disease. It is not something that affects only white middle class boys. Autism affects many people, and this comes from the Cleveland organization. The second is that it actually has a 3% prevalence in the country. It's pretty common now. That comes from the CDC government. Third is that Amethyst Saber stated, she's a self-advocate, that autism is a neurological condition affecting everything about the person, how they think, process information, feel, and will stay with them for life. And fourth is that autism does not work with punishment. When you try to punish a kid who is autistic, they get scared and their reactions are not to meet the goal. So it's best to do antecedent behavior consequence and find out their motives and find a way to work around this. And And fifth is to get a diagnosis for a child, you need to go through a long process usually. You need to get a referral from your primary physician to a specialist who then has to meet the child and do a lot of documentation. It's not something your school can just do overnight for you. Now, I'm talking about the importance of inclusion and support for individuals with autism spectrum and why this is important. To me, as an autistic person, I can state it's important from my own perspective because I suffered greatly from being autistic and not in an inclusive center. My sources to support this are first Temper Grandin, who talks about autism from her own experience of being autistic on her TED Talk. And she's adamant that these kids, these meeting with autism, they need to be engaged in the classroom more with other kids doing hands-on materials because they are the future engineers, many of them, and they need to be focused on and incorporated more. Second source what what it's like for being autistic in preschool. This comes from my a preschool channel for preschool children on how being autistic is very difficult for young children, and they need the help of other kids to develop relationships. That's not easy for them. And last source on that is women, young girls are autistic, but they get bullied because they lack the social cues and they are disengaged from society. And there is a channel, Iris, that talks about how they just wish someone had talked to them about autism when they were kids. It would have made their lives as children so much easier. So I believe it is very important to have inclusion. Now I have four distinct tips on autism that I want to bring up. These are for interacting with autistic kids. The first one is have a list in your class of things you can say to your child who is autistic besides calm down. Your feelings matter is, I think, the most important for an autistic kid to hear because they usually feel they don't perceived as being mattered. Now, you can also have charts on the walls on how to keep the kids from being escalated. Have images of de-escalation, how to take deep breaths, and point out the picture. Another tip number 3, is vestibular regulation activities, incorporating activities where the kids can move around, do their hand flipping as part of the class, or other physical things they do, so they do not become overly excited and start hand flipping halfway through a presentation. Third is connection. Always prioritize connection over correction. If the top kid is lining up their dinosaurs and their animals, don't correct. Say, hey, you need to separate the dinosaurs from the kitty cats. Just ask which one is a kitty cat or which one is a dinosaur, and have a playful exchange with the child, and tell them how good they're doing at playing. Lastly, tip is autistic kids need real connection to daily life. Instead of 300 lima beans minus 400 lima beans, how many have you got? Have them do a practical thing they enjoy that's puts incorporates what they're fixated on. Have them add up their favorite dinosaur toys, and if you really want to count up high, of paper doll dinosaurs, and they can go up real high with you counting up those dinosaur paper toys. And now I'm presenting four distinct environmental tips I feel every elementary field should have. Now, students should have a say in their curriculums and the activities they enact. This comes from Eric Krautz, a teacher who believed strongly in universal designs of learning, where you help the kids by helping them to know how to help you become their own teachers and advocates in the classroom. They will have their own activities they have picked out to help design projects to help them meet their learning goals. So they're learning in small groups or separate, and this is stuff they have decided they're going to do because they want to do to learn it. It's about sharing control of the classroom and making your classroom more environmental friendly and flexible for them. Okay, second is creating multiple calming spaces. I'm a paraeducator. The most violent classrooms were the ones that didn't have a calming space. Have calming spaces. So even if your one kid gets escalated, the other kid can have another calming space to go down to. Number three is find out why the kid is escalating and change the environment immediately to prevent future escalations. This could be as simple as the lights are too bright, where you dim down the lights. Number four, always present universal discipline learning principles. They are multiple ways of representation. We need to have the material represented to autistic kids in different ways because not every autistic kid is different. Some are going to need oral, some are going to need reading, some will need hands-on. Give action and expression. Let them enact it and express it in their own ways. And lastly, engagement. Always make certain they feel engaged. You don't want the students bored in this environment, and have the environment geared around those three principles, and have charts available for the students you can refer back to so they can see the cycle of representation, action, and engagement and expression for them. Refer back to. Now, here we are at the social skills, and we need to look at children's autistic kids' behavior in a documented way in an elementary setting. So there is a packet at Griffin with all kinds of useful documents for parents and teachers to print out. Things like what happened, what could have been the motive, and how is this resolving. Document everything, but don't make the kid feel it's enough. That's common sense. Second, functional behaviors for what the student is doing, and then create actions for rewarding and increasing desired behaviors and decreasing desired behaviors. That's very important for social interaction because they have to have behaviors rewarded you frequently. And now here are free resources highly relevant to the setting. They are, again, actually I have five. They are, again, the documentation, which will help them communicate, not from the Griffin packet. There is the Autistic Misadventures, 50 alternatives to saying calm down in the classroom, which also this website has a lot of tips on how to communicate with your kid. There is a huge library from researchautism.org that has free downloads and quick explanations on autism. And lastly, the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill has free resources and courses, huge modular list on autism for parents, and teachers that covers antecedent behavior, consequences. It's a great resource. And I'm hoping this helped you understand autism better and we feel better prepared for implementing autistic prom- enhanced autistic supportive behaviors in our elementary setting.